A golden splendor reminiscence of divine light filled the entire space. It felt like the whole world was cast in gold. There was no sun, no moon, no starlight in this world, but it was eternally as bright as day. There was a massive palace standing in the midst of this world. Advertisements and a huge dragon rested in the heart of the palace. Apparently, the dragon felt something, as he lifted his head to look into a distance somewhere. A divine light coursed through his mighty golden eyes. Ayaya, pay attention when you talk to your elder. Did little Gerald see something interesting? Sitting in front of the dragon was a young girl that looked no more than 7 or 8 years old. The young girl had white hair, jade white skin, and a doll-like face. However, the way she spoke was extremely old-fashioned in contrast to her young looks. Perhaps the dragon had ignored her for too long. The young girl slammed the teacup on the small desk in front of her in a fit of anger. If little Gerald continues to ignore me, I will get angry, yo. The young girl had a petite body and looked like a little insect when compared to the huge dragon. However, the dragon wouldn't dare view her as a little insect. In fact, no one in the entire multiverse would dare to regard her as a little insect. Anyone who judged her by outer appearance had indeed paid a disastrous price. Origin Dragon Gerald turned towards the young girl and said helplessly, "Can Lord Sovereign please not act so childish?" "How am I childish? Did you know how difficult it is for me to freeze some time to join little Gerald for a little afternoon tea? And yet you ignored me. Let me tell you, the documents on my desk are going to pile up like a mountain in just this little time." The young girl who had been called a sovereign god put both hands on her hips as she looked like a little girl who was innocently boasting to her father. She looked very cute. "I was not ignoring you, I just felt a little something." "Advertisements, oh? What is it? Tell me," the sovereign god asked, her expression full of interest. "It's not such a big deal. It's just that I have lost connection with the blood I left behind in that world. It may be assumed that it has already been assimilated by my descendant." "Descendant?" asked the sovereign god with bright eyes. "The one whose soul you had that Jenny brat sent to the human world before he got to hatch as a proper dragon?" Gerald squinted his eyes. He slightly moved his head forward and asked, "Lord Sovereign also knew of this?" "Ayaya, I am still a sovereign god after all, that Jenny brat's immediate superior. For the famous origin dragon to personally ask her a favor, and that too something as big as sending his descendant to a human world, of course, she would report it to me." The sovereign god waved her hands, feeling very proud of herself. Was that really the case? Gerald tried to see through the sovereign god's intention from her doll-like face, but how could an old monster like her who had lived for so many countless years be expected to make such a simple mistake? It had already been many countless years since she last made a mistake. "Ey, little Gerald, why are you treating that descendant of yours so fondly? You've even given him one of the 7 bloodstones you have." Sovereign god sipped a mouthful of tea and continued, "Is he the one you're betting on?" Advertisements. This chapter is provided to you by Relibrary. Please visit Relibrary to show the translators your appreciation and stop supporting the content thief. Advertisements. It was as casual as the next door ant asking if you've already had lunch, yet it caused Gerald to instantly sharpen his eyes and arch his back like an enraged cat. A frightening aura enveloped the entire room. It seemed that Gerald was about to pounce on the sovereign god like a wild beast. "How did the Lord Sovereign know what I gifted was the dragon bloodstone?" asked Gerald. "All I knew was that you've gifted a blood essence." The sovereign god drank the tea leisurely as though she couldn't feel the pressure emanating beside her. "But now I'm certain what you've gifted was the dragon bloodstone." The sovereign god looked into Gerald's eyes and said with a complacent smile, "After all, you don't look very calm right now." Gerald relaxed his posture and returned to the crouching position on the ground. "Lord Sovereign is as sharp as expected. What I gifted was indeed the dragon bloodstone. Then, that descendant is really the one." That's right. Since she had already guessed it, there was no need for him to hide it anymore. He is the one. There's not much time left. All existence above the level of gods are in danger. Those who are laying a bet have done what they have to do. Those who want to preserve their strength are laying low. But Lord Sovereign, you, Gerald stopped for a while before continuing with a questioning look, don't seem to be doing anything? Is Lord Sovereign really that confident in your own strength? There's no way at all. The sovereign god covered her little face with one hand and waved the other in a show of embarrassment. In front of that, who would be able to boast about their strength? Stop teasing me like that. Besides, I've already laid my bet a long time ago. Is that so? Gerald's head came closer to the sovereign god and he asked out of curiosity, I wonder if you can tell me who it is. My oh my, this kind of thing. I obviously can't tell you. The sovereign god completely ignored Gerald's bitter face and said, however, I can tell little Gerald this, that person's identity will definitely give you a shock. Is that so? Is it someone I know? Knowing that he couldn't gain any more information from the sovereign god, Gerald could only pull back. All right, the sovereign god drained the remaining tea in one gulp, then she stood up and said, it's getting late, I will be taking my leave now. Take care, I won't bother seeing you out. Aya, little Gerald is so cold, the sovereign god pouted in discontent, forget it, I am not that narrow-minded. Before I go, let me tell you one last bit of information. That old nemesis of yours might still be alive. Yo, Gerald looked at the empty main hall with light coursing through his dragon eyes. Nobody could understand the thoughts behind those silent eyes.